This Roblox game was once a certified giant, pulling in hundreds of thousands of players every single day at its peak. It felt like it appeared out of nowhere, a simple, cozy adventure that captivated millions and began rivaling heavy hitters like Dress to Impress and Doors. But then, almost as quickly as it rose, it all came crashing down. The players left, the community soured, and the game was all but declared dead. This is the story of the wild decline of Fisch and the incredible comeback story that no one saw coming. Back in March of 2024, a developer named WoozyNate released what would become an absolute phenomenon. The concept was simple but brilliant, a cozy fishing adventure. In a sea of complicated simulators and intense action games, Fisch was a quiet escape. It took inspiration from the calming gameplay loops of titles like Stardew Valley and Fishing Simulator, mixing exploration, RPG elements, and the addictive thrill of collecting into one perfect package. And players were, well, hooked. It filled a huge gap in the market. Roblox was missing a truly great, dedicated fishing game, and WoozyNate nailed it. The core loop was just so satisfying. Cast your line, reel in a fish, sell it for coins, and then use those coins to upgrade your rod and boat to find even rarer fish. Action, reward, expansion. It was a cycle so simple and addictive that it had players promising just one more cast at 3 in the morning. The game's appeal was massive. It was a relaxing experience you could enjoy with friends, a total breath of fresh air compared to the platform's more competitive titles. The initial reaction from players was fantastic. They loved the easy-to-learn but hard-to-master mechanics. There was a real sense of wonder in exploring the different islands, each with its own vibe, and more importantly, its own unique fish. With over 400,000 variations to discover, the journey felt almost endless. Catching your first mythic was a legit rite of passage, a moment of pure victory you'd immediately spam to your friends or post in the community Discord. And that community was booming. The official server was a buzzing hub where players shared tips, showed off their best catches, and just geeked out over the game they all loved. The numbers were wild. Soon after release, Fisch's popularity exploded, making it one of the most played games on the entire platform. It was the solo developer's dream. But with that success came the immense pressure of maintaining it all. To handle the growth, WoozyNate partnered with a larger studio, Do Big. On the surface, this seemed like a smart move to make sure the game could keep growing. The developers even made a clear promise. There would be no pay-to-win mechanics. For a while, that promise held, and the golden age of Fisch rolled on. But under the surface, the seeds of its downfall were already being planted. What do you guys think? Were you there for the golden age of Fisch? Let me know your favorite memory from that time in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this deep dive into Roblox history, make sure to hit that subscribe button because the story only gets crazier from here. So where did it all go wrong? For many longtime players, the turning point came after the game was sold. The update started to feel different. The greed narrative, a story that has spelled doom for many Roblox games, started to creep in. A community that once celebrated the game's fairness now felt like it was being squeezed for every last Robux. The first big red flag was the aggressive monetization. Pop-ups for paid boats and rod skins were suddenly in your face all the time. Then came the egg loot boxes and paid bait, features that felt totally against the game's chill spirit. But the final nail in the coffin for many was the addition of server luck boosts bundled with Robux purchases. A single bundle could give a 32x luck boost to the whole server. Even worse, these could be gifted and stacked, leading to insane luck multipliers that completely broke the game's core progression. The thrill of the hunt, that satisfaction of earning a rare catch through patience, was suddenly worthless. The updates themselves became a huge source of frustration. Instead of cool new features, players felt like they were on an endless treadmill of nerfs and buffs. The best rod in the game one week would be useless the next, all to push players to grind for the new meta item. It created a feeling of pointlessness. Why bother grinding for something if it's just going to be obsolete in a few days? Bugs and bizarre design choices started piling up. One botched update allegedly trapped some players in a hard-to-reach area, and it took the devs a week to roll out what many felt was a 5-minute fix. The community, once the game's biggest strength, turned toxic. The friendly atmosphere was replaced by a minefield of scammers, exploiters, and beggars. Veteran players, the ones who remembered the peaceful early days, started quitting. They felt heartbroken, believing the developers had stopped listening and replaced their passion with a soulless cash grab. Player counts, which once soared, began to nosedive. By early 2025, videos and posts declaring Fisch is dead were everywhere, and honestly, they were right. But right when it seemed like Fisch was doomed to be another cautionary tale, something remarkable happened. The developers started to listen. Facing a free-falling player count and a firestorm of angry feedback, a change started to happen in late 2024 and into 2025. It wasn't just one thing, but a series of updates that showed they were genuinely trying to fix their mistakes. The catalyst was the overwhelming community backlash. The developers put out polls in the official Discord, asking players point-blank about their biggest frustrations. Questions like, remove C2 and reward players who've progressed, were met with a massive yes. For the first time in a long time, it felt like the players actually had a voice. So, the devs started cleaning house. They fixed the terrible enchantment odds that made grinding for relics feel like a full-time job, eventually making them a 100% drop chance to respect players' time. They started rolling out huge updates that added real substance back into the game. New islands, new fish, and new mechanics like the Blue Moon event and lobster fishing that brought fresh ways to play. These weren't the cynical, meta-shifting updates from before. They were real additions that made the world bigger and better. Most importantly, they walked back the worst of the pay-to-win mechanics. While the game still needs to make money, the focus shifted back to fishing and exploring. It started to feel fair again. The weekly updates, once a source of anxiety, are now something players look forward to. There's a feeling that Woozy Nate and the new team are actively trying to recapture that original magic. They're constantly talking to the community, hosting events, and dropping codes for free stuff as a sign of goodwill. And the results speak for themselves. While the game hasn't returned to the absolute peak of its initial hype, the player base has stabilized and is growing again. As of July 2025, Fisch has sailed past an incredible 3 billion lifetime visits and maintains a high approval rating. The comeback is real. YouTubers who were once writing the game's eulogy are now talking about its massive potential. The community, though still a bit scarred, is healing. That chill shared adventure is slowly coming back. The story of Fisch is a classic Roblox saga. It's a lesson in how quickly a game can rise to the top and how, just as quickly, corporate greed can tear it all down. Its downfall wasn't because the game was bad. It was because it lost its soul. It strayed from the original vision that made millions of players fall in love with its cozy, fair, and rewarding adventure. The developers learned the hard way that a loyal community is worth more than any short-term cash-in. But the most important part of this story is the second act. The comeback of Fisch proves that it's never too late. It shows the incredible power of listening to your players and respecting their time and passion. By admitting they messed up and actually working to fix it, the developers pulled their game back from the brink. Will Fisch ever reclaim the throne it once held? Only time will tell.